That's what happened, yeah. It's not dusty anymore. Was. We are right now in a piece of quagmire. That's the truth, and I'm not. I'm a little bit uncertain. Thank you. If we should do this, Ian, but I'm just going to mention the. Am I on?
This is recording. This is still getting set up. It's not working. So.
We learned last week. So
maybe just do that.
That's fine.
It might eventually work.
It's fine. There's always the eventuality, right?
Right. Yep.
It's happening. We're at the end of Lamed Gimel. No, it's off. Mine's thinking about it too. I don't know why it's waiting such a long time. Oh, here we go. It's happening.
Yeah.
Connecting. Still connecting.
Recording in progress.
Fine. All right. So maybe perhaps my photogenic self. Here we go. All right. What I would like to discuss. We learned this last halacha about going fishing. Tzad adam dagim chomash yachol litzod, and we discussed Ramosha's tshuva about fishing, doing things for enjoyment on Chol Hamoed, which we'll discuss a little bit later. Now we have we're going to jump in order to understand this to Tov Kuf Lamed Tes Sif Yud. And you're going to see the apparent problem that we have with this halacha. It's not my question. The Mishnah Berurah is bothered by this. Okay, it says as follows: Mochrei tavlinim o yerek, perishable items. Just use that as a translation. V'chol davar she'eino miskayim, poischin u'mochrim kedarkom b'farhesya. You're allowed to sell them normally. Why? Because the reason to not sell b'farhesya is so that it should be apparent that what you're doing is for the moed. It's not because they're trying to hide from the authorities or something like that. It should be done in a way that, here, there's another one. If you'd like, Ari, would you like one? Shakol yodim shein tzorach hamoed. So this halacha is, if you want to say this, it's great. It's a no-brainer, so to speak. The whole problem is that you shouldn't sell b'farhesya because people will think perhaps that you're doing it not l'tzorach hamoed. Something which is self-evident they're doing l'tzorach hamoed is mutter. Okay. Now here's where the problem starts. How do we decide what's called that it's obviously doing l'tzorach hamoed or not? This is the subject which the Mishnah Berurah is a problem. Let's just read the Mishnah Berurah over there in Tov Kuf Lamed Tes. V'achreinim eskinu and dehu adin l'mochrei b'samim. The avshu davar hamiskayim, even though b'samim are something miskayim, kibun shu niker du tzorach hamoed, so it's mutter to do. In other words, the bottom line is it has to be understood that what you're doing is tzorach hamoed. V'im ken kibun shapaisim tzorach yisol, afilu bo nochri liklos mutter limcholoi, because the purpose of your business is not for non-Jews. That means, I would just like to translate this into halacha l'maisa terms. That means if you had a perfume store in Manhattan, it would be aser. A perfume store in Yerushalayim is mutter. Perhaps if I was a rabbi in Tel Aviv and somebody would ask me, what about if you have a perfume store in Tel Aviv? I'd say I don't know the answer.
It's in between the two.
What?
It's in between the two.
No, that's not the problem.
They're not doing the Chol Hamoed.
They're not doing the Chol Hamoed. The people who are buying perfume, what?
Primarily, no.
Primarily. Let's put it this way. There's many Orthodox Jews in Manhattan as there are Shomer Shabbos Jews in percentage-wise. I don't know if that's true, but it's for sure not true. Right? Is that... I don't know. Am I saying correct? You don't know. But you understand what I'm saying. What?
Overwhelming or not?
Overwhelming majority are not. I don't know. I really don't know the ethnic background, etc. But definitely many neighborhoods in Tel Aviv are not. They're not Shomer Shabbos. They're not Shomer Shabbos. Okay, there's a difference between the two. Anyways, so I don't know what the halacha would be, because perhaps if they're buying the perfume for now, the ma'aseh is a kiyum of Chol Hamoed. But I'm willing to say that there's no reason to assume that they're buying it for now. Being that the moed, I don't know exactly. I'm not a perfume buyer myself, so I don't really know exactly when does one go to buy perfume. Like when do you fit that into your schedule? I know I go to the makolet when I'm out of what I need, right? I don't know, is that when you buy perfume or I don't know. I don't know. It's beyond my expertise. Don't know. But just pointing out that halacha. Now I didn't point it out for no reason. I touched on this last time. If you lived 100 years ago and you caught fish, what's its shelf life? I don't know, but not long. Is that true today? No. Does halacha what?
100 years ago, we made herring.
Obviously, it depends what kind of fish you're buying, right? Right? If you're buying tuna, right, that's fishing for tuna, then you're obviously in a major. If you ever saw a fishing tuna boat, you would know. So they go. There's not one; it's 4 boats that go together and they catch tuna and a net between them. It's fascinating. I saw it once in San Diego. Anyways, what?
I don't think they had tuna in European waters.
Okay, that's possible. Anyways, but that's the subject. So here we have the Ramah says that. So what did we say? The Mechaber said in Sif Daled that you're allowed to tzad adam dogim, whatever you need Chol Hamoed, because you could eat from them. Says the Ramah, mutar tzadam b'var hesya. Why? Shenikir lakol shu tzar Hamoed.
100 years ago, for sure.
What? 100 years ago, for sure. No, it's again. This is I'm assuming that these halachas can change with the. Perhaps someone will have a shtickle to say otherwise. Okay. Now, that Ramah is the introduction to the Mechaber, which we're learning tonight. Kol malachas shem tzarech hamoed, oisin oisam umnehem, oisin betzina. We are at the end of Tav Kuf Lamed Gimel, that last halacha, Sif Hey. All of those halachas, am I happening?
This is working fine. It's fine. This is not working still. Maybe another 10 minutes.
Fine, that's absolutely fine. All right. So, all professional work cannot be done before Hesya. It has to be done b'tzina, because people will assume that you're doing it because you're in business. Right? When does somebody get a new lock? Yes.
Yeah.
When does somebody get a new lock? It's always an emergency?
No, definitely not.
So what does it mean you need what do you need a lock and it's not an emergency?
People want to feel secure.
I mean, he was adding another.
Then you're adding a new security system or something like that.
No, not to a lot of that. Because sometimes when you move into a new house.
Yeah, but a person who's living in their house. I am flattered. If you don't want to hear any audio, it says something that you're supposed to do. I just didn't catch it. But anyways, if a person is living in a house for 10 years, is there any reason in the world why they should be getting a new lock?
For sure.
Why is that?
Here's a perfect case. people are scared.
Why are they scared?
When they're scared,
Why are they scared?
like now,
What's that?
people are scared.
Oh, okay, fine.
Okay.
But in a regular situation, there's not some new situation arose.
No, there's reasons for it. So again, a situation like that where people are scared and then they want to have a little more security, they do that. If they're talking to a friend and they,
Right. Okay, fine. So I think that I've said what I have to say. There's not going to be a real Chol Hamoed coming. I just want to share with you an off-the-record statement that was asked on post Simchas Torah on Yom Tov Sheni, I think 6 times, about people from Chutz La'aretz that called, irreligious people that called their family members here to find out how they're doing, and should you answer the phone or shouldn't answer the phone. Twice I had a suffix. Somebody said that my mother is 85 years old. She has high blood pressure. She has, medical conditions, and she keeps on calling, and I'm afraid for her health. So now, the reason to answer the phone is pikuach nefesh. Nothing to do with the war. Right? I can see nothing to do with the war. Well, normally, the people ask me the question, which I asked many times. My grandmother wants to know how I'm doing. She says it's pikuach nefesh. I said, does she work for Ichud Hatzolah? Like, what is your grandmother in Muncie going to do to save your life? There's no pikuach nefesh in the phone. No, but the grandmother's calling. Why?
She wants to find out. It's for Euro.
You're okay. So to answer the phone is maybe, perhaps it could be a question if the callers has a emotional or a high risk question. But for normal people, but if they want to know, it's because pikuach nefesh, maybe something's happening. I said, even if there is, there's nothing they can do about it. I don't think anybody that's calling from Chutz La'aretz, and I've had many phone calls since Yontif, have any inkling of an understanding b'chlal about what the situation is, no matter how much news they heard. They have no way of even giving advice. They're not. They don't get it. I don't know if we do either, but they for sure don't get it. Anyways, so I'm just pointing out the issue. Who's pikuach nefesh for what? What's the subject really about? You understand? Now, the person who's doing the malacha on Chol Hamoed l'tzorech hachag, if it's not evident, he has to do a petzina. What is called evident? What is not called evident? So, for some reason, the Mechaber says, and the Ramah say that doing fish, catching fish, that's the word. Catching fish is muvan me'elav. And
You can't catch fish betzinas.
Well, you'll see that that's an excellent question. There's a halacha which we're going to learn later on today, so I'll just share this with you. Your question is a good question, therefore I'm going to honor it, and then I'll explain to you why it can't be what you said is true. But your question is a good question. It says that you're allowed to wash your clothes. Those who need to wash their clothes want to wash them in the river, even though it's b'farhesia, because the water of the river cleans better. So, no, it's this whole halacha of b'farhesia, not b'farhesia, that's because people are going to make a mistake and think that you're being mezalzel b'moed. So it's an easy halacha to dispense with in certain circumstances. But how do I know that you're wrong? Gil, how do I know you're wrong? Very simple. The Ramah says mafurish that Gil's wrong. Why? Because the Ramah says that you're allowed to fish b'farhesia. If the only way to fish was b'farhesia, it would be my machrei nevasser water. We don't have to express that.
How does one fish not b'farhesia?
I have a private lake.
Okay, that's not.
Or somebody has, and there are people who have fish ponds. Like if you go up north near Tveria, it's not always on the Kinneret.
No, but also fish pond is public.
Where?
If it's a big pond, people can.
Where you go on the sides of the Kinneret, that's private. These massive, you know what I'm talking about? These massive things, private. That's not Befresia. I don't think that's called Befresia. Anyways, but Echshahu, you could be done by sinner or not. I accept your question. I'm answering your question too, which the Mishnah Berurah uses that answer. But where it is a kedupet sin or not, obviously there must be some option. All right. So here the Sharet Tzion, the Bir Halacha has a long 1.5-page piece to try to figure out why is fishing more understood than other things. Now, this is the question that he's busy with. He doesn't seem to come up with a very good answer. And he has some kind of a difference between catching the fish and selling the fish. And I'm just going to leave it. I'm just touching on the subject because this is a kind of a question which I feel nowadays will change all the time. The halachas, when the things that are done, I don't know how long vegetables lasted in the olden times, but they last much longer nowadays. Let's just leave it at that.
Are we talking about just an woman here who's fishing, or someone going out for pleasure?
We're only speaking about umnim. We don't live with yachts and pleasure cruises. It's not in the Shulchan Aruch. We will discuss that in Meretz Hashem in 2 simanim from now. But as of right now, people who do you play basketball because you enjoy it or you do it professional? I think anybody who does it professional enjoys it. If he didn't be that he enjoyed it, he wouldn't be playing it, right? So, you have a question about that? I think it's a double pashut, right? You can't be a professional athlete if you don't enjoy it. What?
Why wouldn't you say the reverse? A person who's not getting paid, he's not going to play basketball unless he enjoys it. A person getting $40 million a year, even if he doesn't enjoy it, he might.
I was just saying, it can't be that he doesn't enjoy it, otherwise he wouldn't be getting $40 million a year. It's to get to that point, you have to be, and it's just not.
It could be beyond that point if you carry a different way.
Yeah, that could be. But anyways, we'll just when we have the question, come and ask. we'll worry on it then. All right. Anyways, I'm finished with the siman. Let's go to the next siman. Dinei kibbutz b'chol hamoed. Now, the rule is, and I'm going back to the bone that I have to pick, which I said in the beginning of this limud. The lady calls me and says, I forgot to tweeze my eyebrows before Yontif, and I'm embarrassed to walk out on Yontif. Am I allowed to tweeze them on Chol Hamoed? I discussed this issue. Okay? So, that lady will get her head handed to her from me. And then afterwards, I'll tell her that it's permissible. Okay? First of all, she's a liar. She's a liar. Now, I'm calling this lady a liar, even though I never even met her, never saw her. But if it looks so bad that you're embarrassed to go outside, you would have done it beforehand. It cannot be. That sentence cannot be that in 5 days you went from respectable to a horror. This is not a 5-day shadow, right? Understand? This is not happening. You understand? So she's a liar. Now, I'm not going to argue that she may have a self-image issue and she thinks she looks horrible. I'm not, but be'emet, it's hard for me to buy into that.
For her, it might be pikuach nefesh.
What? No, she won't go out.
Maybe she feels yontif. She's dressed up more. She needs
I would say right now is not the time for the barditchever. Okay, well, all those pekuach nefesh people will deal with them when they create their issues. Okay, but we're talking about regular, normal, sane people. It can't be that it's that bad. Then, why is it permissible? It's permissible because one is allowed to groom themselves. That's called Chol Hamoed. Personal body is called Chol Hamoed, and it's mutter. And for some reason, even though women have the isser of giluach, of taking haircuts before the moed, the halacha of removing facial hair or whatever kind of things that they do, that is not included in it, and they're allowed to do it on Chol Hamoed. But you have no business to coming into the moed looking in a way that you're going to look horrible in 5 days. No, she still deserves her head handed to her. It's irrelevant of what the halacha is. So the same should apply. Why do I wear new clothes, fresh clothes? That's a tzarech haguf. That's, I need to wear fresh clothing. So why should it be forbidden to wash clothing on Chol Hamoed? And the answer is exactly what? Exactly. So, it's really, it should be mutter. But being that we don't want you to come into the Yantif looking like a manovel or be Muchav Nachtas, so we slap an Isser onto you. But Be'etzem, it should be mutter. Okay. En Mechabsim B'moed, you're not allowed to. Ve'elu ha-Mechabsim B'moed. Now there are exceptions to that rule. Haba b'Medinas Hayam, just like the haircut guy, he couldn't do it beforehand. Hayetzi beis hashivya beis hasurim. Hamenuda shetir lacham beregel. All these people were usher in washing their clothing. Mishnah Berurah chabes v'nishal beregel v'yitiloi. Now here comes a list that I have issues with. I have issues with because times have changed. And I'm not sure which way they've changed sometimes. Even though I know that it's not the same as it was, I'm not sure exactly where it is. Okay? These are things which are excluded. Now I'm going to skip. We're going to go back in 1 minute. I'm going to skip this list. He says, Big Day Ktanim, the begodim of a Ktanim, says the Mishnah Berurah, in Sifkot and Dalid, Ki derech haktanim l'lach lich betit u'betzoya toder. The reason why is because they're always dirty. Whether you did wash before Yantif, you didn't wash before Yantif, you're always going to have a pile up of dirty kids' clothing. So, in order, seemingly, this is what I understand the halach to be, that you cannot prepare for this eventuality. This is just the way it is. And it's not indicative.
You really could prepare.
You are a rich snob.
You have 20 sets of pairs.
Right? How many pairs of clothing did your grandfather have at age 3?
Probably 1 or 2 pieces of clothing.
Same as they did.
Right? That was the personal, right? So that's what I'm saying. That's why we're running into problems because times have changed.
Exactly. Times have changed.
Right?
The past holiday, you go through 5 nights of Simchas Pesach Shvoivos, your clothes ain't washed.
Can I ask you a question? You don't have 5 shirts. You don't have 5 undershirts. You have
5 that are for Yantif?
undershirts,
No, that's not. No,
and you don't have your regular shirts.
say you're wearing your white shirts for Yantif.
So if you don't have anything left, it could be that you're allowed to. But you want to know what the place will say? Go and buy new. I had that question. Someone calling from Dalit Shtayim. His wife ran out of stockings. What should she do? I said, go to Beit Shemesh and buy. You're not going to find in Dalit Shtayim, or you're not going to find in Aleph. You're not going to find that. So I said, go to Beit Shemesh.
Why is that Tzorch Yantif more than this Tzorch Yantif?
What?
Why is the shopping Tzorch Yantif more than the washing?
Because one is a malacha, one's not a malacha. This is already the place can discuss, so you have a choice what to do, what you should do. Well, Mitzvah Shem, maybe we'll get there too. Not everybody always agrees, but that's what I said. And for some reason, usually people end up finding something better than spend money. All right. Anyways, but that's a psak of most poskim. All right. So the Big Day Ktanim, we understand that there's never enough. Just like there's never enough candy, right? It's just certain things with kids, there's just never enough. Wizao. Okay. So now the other things which we're going to list over here, now I'm going back to the beginning of the halacha, are for the same reason as Big Day Kanan. Now here, our lifestyle and the 100 years ago aren't exactly in sync. I'm not going to ask people to raise their hands to answer this question, but I'll just say my observation is 80% of people put a plastic tablecloth on their tablecloth on Shabbos and Yom Tov. There's no reason in the world to wash a tablecloth because they get dirty all the time.
They're worried about shidduchim.
So wash the shidduch. Take a shower. No, so just say first. Right. So now, I'm making a statement. Okay, I believe that's true. Now, let's see the halachas Shulchan Aruch. You'll understand why I have problems. Okay, mitpachos hayadayim, hand towels. Mitpachos hasaparim, which are also things that get dirty all the time. Mitpachos hasvag, and bathing towels. All of these things, all of those things are permissible to be done because they are always in demand and always out of supply. You find it difficult because you're not taking a haircut.
Right.
Oh, so it's talking about the sapar that's doing for the people who are allowed to take it, right? Now, I will say, I just would like to scream at all of you, even though I think it's going to get to any of you. Shlomo Zalman Auerbach writes that a hotel has no heter to wash their things. It's not the guests who ran out of towels. So don't be so cheap and buy a supply. Okay?
That's only a Jewish owned hotel.
The Goyim are allowed to do it even on Yom Tov. They can watch it.
And supply the hotels is rented out to.
Well, I have no idea what you. The hotel is the one who has to come up with the supplies. If he's the guy, so he wants to wash them, so he should have them. That's fine. He can wash them.
Why are they different than any private person who can also buy another few towels and have enough?
I answered that question already. The regular person, he needs towels. When I go to the 5-star hotel, you better have towels for me. Now I don't have to bring my own. If I have to buy my own towels, it's not a 5-star hotel.
No,
And I don't go to anything less than that. Okay.
I'm not saying when you're in a hotel. When you're at home, I'm saying.
What?
When you're at home, why don't you just buy more towels? Why don't you go out and wash them?
So this is exactly the point. This is where life gets a little bit complicated. In the olden times, you didn't buy things unless you needed them, and if you had a time where you didn't have them, you know what you did? You didn't do it. You know, this is the problem. The problem with halacha is that we live in a different time, and it's hard for us to relate to that which is going on. All right. So again, these things I have an issue with them.
You're saying nowadays the towel thing is not a heter?
I'm pretty leaning in that way. I think that most people have enough towels to last a week.
Are you saying the hotel is the same thing?
I'm not. Oh, so you own a hotel?
What is it?
You own a hotel?
No.
Okay. Mirz Hashem.
I don't know, but tell me you have guests free on towels also.
You know what? Parrots, take you'll ask around. People have enough towels to last a week.
I don't think so.
What?
I think in America I would agree.
It's hard to sell me this halacha. Now, I just want to make it clear that wasn't what was going on 100 years ago.
Bath towels and kitchen towels.
No. So it's hard for me to. It's hard for me to.
In the mikvah, that'll be the same thing.
Oh, so that's a whole meduber about public places. So they're meko because there it's a tzorchei mitzvah. Now, whether hotel is called tzorchei mitzvah or not, There's a chuvas Tzitz Eliezer that certain things he wants to be make on hotels because it's tzorchei mitzvah, but for shuls and for other institutions, many poskim are makel that's called the tzorchei rabim, and your hotel is not tzorchei rabim. Your hotel is tzorchei harbe yechidim.
Why is it tzorchei mitzvah?
What?
Why is a hotel tzorchei mitzvah?
Why is it?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay, I come up with very interesting questions. Let's say the Gadol Hador would like to stay in your house, be your guest, and he would like to pay you for it because he doesn't take things for free. And so he took the money because you don't argue with the Gadol Hador, contrary to most people. And you get to heaven, and you're 50-50 exactly, and you look over the doch, and you say, hey, what about that I had this Gadol Hador staying in my house?
Money.
So Hashem says, you got money for that. Will you accept that? I don't think so. What?
I was happy not to take money.
Okay, so the question is, because I get paid for doing a chesed, does it make it not a chesed? This is the subject, which, in other words,
The hotel is providing a service
Correct.
as a business. I'm benefiting, like buying oranges
true,
in the shop. They're
true,
benefiting by
true,
paying.
true, but there's some businesses are business of chesed. So this is. I'm not arguing with you. We can take a look. We'll find for you the chapter line and verse, and it's a fascinating. What?
It's just under this
I agree. I agree. I agree. This is not what I said originally. He just pressed the button that caused me.
The guys from the south now, well, they're out of the houses, but still me paying for a five-star hotel.
Okay, fine. Listen, I'm not arguing with you. I think the pashtus is like you're saying that it's not called a mitzvah, and my right to that is from a Mishnah Berurah. I'll just share with you something fascinating. I heard once from my father something b'shem the Chafetz Chaim, and I was very bothered by it. I said, I can't believe the Chafetz Chaim ever said such a thing. And then I found the Bir Halacha, and I realized not only did Chafetz Chaim say such a thing, he wrote such a thing. But he didn't say anything like what my father said that he said. And I'll tell you what he said, what my father said, and you'll understand why it's the exact same thing, just totally two different things. He said the difference between a Meshulach and a Schnorrer is 1%. 51 and 49. You like that?
1%. I'll go away here.
Right? Well, if you're 49, you're on this side. If you're 51, you're on the other side. I didn't even say which one is which, right? But is that understood what I just said?
Yeah, definitely.
Why not?
I understand.
Which one didn't you understand?
The difference between a shulch and a schnorr, 51 and 49.
If he keeps 49%, if he keeps 49% or he keeps 51%. Now you got it? Okay. So now, this is what he told me Chafetz Chaim said. Chafetz Chaim, in my opinion, never ever said such a thing. What the Chafetz Chaim writes is that a person who's Oisik b'mitzvah, he's pater min mitzvah. Let's say a guy sells tefillin. Is he called the Oisik b'mitzvah or not?
Selling tefillin?
No.
By the way, down south, the soldiers asked for 1,000 pairs of tzitzis. Right? Just on a news flash, right? 1,000 pairs of tzitzis, something like that, right? And somebody is going to sell them to them, let's say. Is he doing a mitzvah? What? And what, he's selling them to me, is he doing a mitzvah? For me, no. Boy, you anti-Semite. Selling it to the Chiloni Chayal is a mitzvah. Selling it to me Is there a shus?
Facilitating him.
It's called haflaya, right?
The person who sells it, he's
Facilitating.
looking at it as a way to make profit, as a
Or as a
way.
chesed.
Huh?
In this case, it's a chesed.
But it's not.
First price.
He's selling
No,
it
for
as
the
what?
soldiers, they're doing it as a chesed.
What's that? Forget about the soldiers. Forget about the
He
soldiers.
said a mitzvah to, is a mitzvah
Who said
to sell
he's selling it at
tzitzis.
Even
Yeah. No.
Who said he's
No, it's a
selling
mitzvah
it?
to wear it.
Okay.
So
Yes,
maybe,
you wear it.
Okay.
if he's selling it at
Okay.
maybe.
I'm sure they're not paying for it.
No, it's a chesed.
Someone else pays for
Well, he said a chesed.
Isaac Mitzvah, where is it? Why do I think it's in Lamed Ches?
No, someone does a chesed.
They're raising money.
That's a different story. No, somebody else pays for it and they get it for free. That's a chesed.
Yes, chesed.
Yeah, well, who says it?
Huh?
They're not the guys who selling it.
No, that was
They're people who put it together.
Let's go find it over here. We'll find for you the Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah Berurah says clearly that a person who's writing tefillin, even if he's doing it only to make money, but since the Torah says ukasavtem, he's makayim a mitzvah, and even doing it only purely for profit, is called the Isaac b'mitzvah. And the person who is a seller of it, so it depends if he's over 50% or under 50%. Goes by the roiv, because he has both kavanas in mind, and you go basa the roiv. The end. So here you have the 49 and 51. This is the Mishnah Berurah writes. So I contend that my father's statement was told to him by somebody who took this out of the Mishnah Berurah, but that's not what the Chavetz Chaim meant. That wasn't what he was talking about. I don't know why I thought it was in Simon Lamed Ches. All right, can't find it. I know we'll find a few as soon as the share is over, which is usually what happens. What?
Sukkah.
It's there in Sukkah. It's in Sukkah, but it's halacha in Sin Lamed Ches, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways,
So the one said even writing tefillin would be...
writing tefillin for sure is called a mitzvah because it has it in the Torah. So it does make a difference what your intent is.
You can do it Chol Hamoed?
It has nothing to do with that question. And there's twice in Hilchos Chol Hamoed the question about writing tefillin. Why does it have to be there twice? If you remind me when we learn the second one. I'm not gonna, because the first one is coming soon. I'm not gonna give you. You have to remember the second time.
First to tefillin, not to mezuzahs?
Both. Anyways, so the how did we get here exactly?
The schnorr and the...
Oh, okay. So fine. So people are doing things. The person in the hotel, he's doing it for two reasons, right? There's an aspect of chesed too, and but the bottom line is these halachas of your towels and all these things do not sit well with me, as I don't like the paskin, not like Shulchan Aruch, but I don't see that we live in that reality. It's difficult for me to let's see the Shulchan Aruch inside. Mitbechos yadayim dalid hatam shedarkan leslakech techef v'imkein afilu hoy mechabsim erev yontif hoy choyzim mislachachim. They would get dirty again. V'lachein afilu yesh lo yaharbi mitbachos motu lechabson tetzorch kol yom mitbachas acheres. Does that apply today?
I would say it applies less then. They were happy to use dirty things.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but the whole idea, it's very hard to apply this to today, right?
It's hard then. It talked about 10
So it's
people
talking about that
using
he has a lot because that's I understand. The general is that you can't be prepared. That's how I understand it. People don't change it all the time. Okay, now I lost my place. If you're not such a guy, So what's going to be with your table with your hand towels?
That's often usually change.
So it's hard. So when somebody asks you this question, it's very subjective, very hard to answer this question. Because of Hayadam Du'adin, this is a handkerchief, for those who know what that is. Dina Kirbetwachas Yadayim, because people change them often. Okay. Again, Saporim Hanis Saporim Shenois Notwachas Aleim when they give haircuts, Face Nefashri Seifrim, and it's speaking because things get dirty all the time. Not really important for us. Hasfog Hainu Mashu Vistafchim Beg Jezu Beis Amerchatz, because of Beis Yezu Sheva Kolba, the Akshan Nogo Bazel Chumra, V'chein Roi Lasois, because these are not so common that you need a lot of them. Okay. Big Dektanim, Ki Derech HaKtanim L'slach Lich B'tzit V'tzoyat Hader. Now I'll just say, I want to go back to what I said originally. No matter how much clothes you prepare for your kids, you always run out of clothes, right? No, it's this. That's just the nature of what's going on. Ubalas kesem, the lady who she has a kesem. Umisha eino elacholok echad, a person who has nothing else to wear. Kula machabsim kedarkon afilu beneser b'ohol. You're allowed to wash them even with proper soap. What? Detergent. Yeah. Ubefarhesya agabi anor. Now why should there be smutter befarhesya? So here we have the Mishnah Berurah. I'm Rabbi Avrohom Shadaitu lahachmer shelo lachabsim befarhesya. Dena kol yodim shu bebedina sayayim shivi chayagav. The people don't know why you're doing it. The Vametachas Yadayim, because there everybody understands you're doing it because everybody has them all the time. Avokamo achroinim askim ledas harama. The Kamed the kiwan shemiskabs and yofa al gali be'anor hu Chol Hamoed v'lo yechviru chachamim b'chol hashinuyim kan. So this is the answer to your question. Now, what did I want to discuss over here? Again, the Balas HaKesem. There's a fascinating question in the Poiskim, and I would have to take out a few minutes to discuss it. Be'etzem, you should be able to wash your clothes on Chol Hamoed. The whole reason you're not allowed to wash your clothes on Chol Hamoed is because she should be whatever. So when we say, I'm right now quoting to you according to some Achronim, the Balas HaKesem, we're talking about that her clothing needs to get washed in the washing machine. But let's say I got some ketchup on my shirt. Can I clean off, spot clean? Can I clean off? Why? That's very. I like that word. That's not doing laundry.
And you couldn't have done it before the Moed.
But it's not doing laundry, right? So the Isser is doing laundry. This is not called doing laundry. What's the nafkamina between what you said and he said? What would be the halacha if the kesem was on the baguette from beforehand and now you want to wear it? Because so then we'd have a machlokes between you two, and we want to daf ma'ariv and be friendly, right? But echshu, the bottom line is that the poskim are saying that being that be'etzem, it's not a malacha that's aser, and it's not kalul in the concept of doing laundry. So Rav Minyan Ubinyan, the poskim say that you're allowed to spot clean on Yontif without talking about the question of your baguette will get ruined, that which we'll discuss next week.